Hey everybody, my name is Steven and welcome back to the Storytime channel. Without wasting any time, let's get into our stories of the day. Testing the new guy. A few years ago, I was rehired by a company I worked at as a junior and cut me teeth with. Mechanical draftsman. I was about 25 at the time and had been doing this since I was 17 within the same industry, so I have a reasonable amount of experience. I was hired back as 2IC drafting manager and manager in training because they wanted a succession plan. I knew a lot of the guys that worked there as it was only 4 years prior I left just to get more experience and lose my junior tag, so there was no ill will and I still caught up with a bunch of the guys regularly, and it was basically like coming back home, if you will. First day, get introduced to the drafting team, myself being the youngest by about 7 years. And that's where I met Mr. Problem, we will call him. Instantly has his nose out of joint as I'm above him and 7 or so years younger, but what he fails to realize is he has been doing this about 5 years less than I have. No biggie, I expected some of this, and since I have little management experience, it's all a big learning curve to me. Everyone else who is older than him don't care, they treat me as an equal and come to me for advice on the work side of things, as I'm basically told I am first point of contact and any technical or other issues I can't answer, we go to the manager as my training. Few weeks go by, no real issues, and I'm doing what I'm told and learning, etc. Now this is where it gets fun, and the drafting manager gives me my first challenge. We have a big job happening which has 4 of them working on it with Mr. Problem, just doing the little jobs like changing architectural backgrounds into our standard as we get new ones in. Usually every Tuesday morning we would have a new set of architectural, hydraulics, etc. drawings to clean up and then overlay into our overall CAD model for the other draftsmen to use. This was his job. So the manager comes to me and says, I noticed Mr. Problem is booking 5 hours to do this. Can you have a look and let me know how long you think it should take? I have a look and say 10 minutes. I can get each CAD file cleaned up and ready. I say to my boss, 10 minutes for me to do it, but to be nice, I'll say 20 each for him and give him the benefit of the doubt. So for the 4 files we get each week, should take him just under 2 hours, not 5. He's like, cool, you're more generous. Then I was thinking, so you go find out why it's taking so long and basically give him a speed up butt kick. So I go over and go, hey, Mr. Problem, these drawing changes are taking too long and should take less than half the time you are taking. Well, here come the excuses about how it is not possible to do it any faster and whatever else was the issue. So I say to him they should really only take you 10 minutes each, not an answer. His response was, no bloody way, that's impossible. This is where I go, nope, 10 minutes adequate, but we are giving you 20 minutes. So he decided to challenge me as I bet you can't do that fast, so when you fail, you can leave me alone. I accepted his challenge, he pulled out his phone timer, and I jumped on his computer. Away we go, and I start doing his job, and 6 minutes later, I finish 1 file and prove to him that we weren't making it up. Now this is usual non-technical CAD work that any draftsman can do. Nothing super complex you require oodles of experience for. From that day on, his time on this task halved weirdly enough, and well, he wasn't happy at all. Wasn't the last problem this guy caused, but it was the most memorable one. Let's focus on the first half of this story. So if you had the experience and you made it on a team, and somebody who was your elder in age, but not so in experience and was kind of looking down upon you for how young you were compared to them, how would you feel or what would you say? Let me know what you would do in OP's position here in the comments below. Act like a contractor. Okay. So a bit of background before I dive into the story. I am head of my department, and when the company wins a project, it comes to me for project review. With current workload and time frame, it is required. If I can't fit it in, then we send it out for a contractor to do. We are bought out by a multinational company after being locally owned, so as with all these situations, more and more scrutiny is now on budgets and meeting budgets thanks to the bean counters. To help comply with this, I am now told that I will be involved in job tendering so that if we win the work, the budget should reflect in our house hourly rate and allotted time I have worked out it should take. Only problem with this is that the tenderers also go out to contractors to get pricing also as a check is what they are telling me. Fast forward to a meeting with my boss, and he basically tells me to run my department like a contractor, and if I can't meet the time or allotted budget for the job, then to pass it off to the contractor that has priced it as such regardless of what is happening in-house, so that we don't blow the budget and have to explain why to the bean counters. Sure enough, as months go by, I don't get as involved in this pricing process, as no one comes to me and the contractor's pricing is what I am told I have to make work, which in some cases isn't too far off internal pricing, I would think, so I push my team and we get it done. Then one day the estimator comes to me with 2 jobs that he submitted pricing for and asks me if I can check the prices they used for my department's work. I have a look and the combined price of the 2 jobs is less than what I believed one job should cost to do. Basically tell him whoever the person that priced that must have been smoking some good stuff that day, and don't come to me if we win it because I can't make it work and you are stuck with that contractor. About a month later, our internal workload is slowing right down to the point a few team members are booking time to training. This is just a code we book time to upskill, or basically if we have nothing to do work-wise, we use as a filler when it comes to internal cleanup or whatever, so it just doesn't blow job budgets for unrelated items. I go to my boss asking for more work, basically as we don't have much going on, and I don't want him coming to me asking why so much training time is happening. His response is, "We have these 2 new jobs we have won, just finalizing the contract and we'll pass them down for you to review." Okay, great. I think this will keep us busy for a short while. Couple days pass and I see the jobs come through and start looking at them. This is when I realized they were the jobs that had stupid budgets, and I could not make work at all without a big lecture at the end on how budgets were blown. So I passed on them like I was told and let that be that. A couple days later, we have our management meeting and I inform the room we are pretty quiet, so if anyone has any work, let me know and I could see what we could do. To this, my boss pipes up and goes, "Hey, I just gave you 2 good jobs. What happened to those? You should be on them." To this, I say, "Well, you told me to look at jobs and if I couldn't make the budgets work, to act like a contractor and pass on them." So I did just that, as the budgets were ridiculous. He went quiet and that was that, so my team kept throwing hours into training until something came along which we could make work. He worked out pretty fast that a blown budget was better than throwing money into training hours, as that came straight out of the company pocket and he would have had to explain to his higher-ups why our department had a lot of training hours and not much productive hours. Of course, overwatching the money leads to poor performance. If it's not in the trash can, okay. This isn't big or crazy, but it helps me sleep better at night. This was a while ago. Maybe 3 months ago. I'm a janitor in a business office building working as a contractor for a janitorial company, so I don't work directly for this office business. Whenever they have something to say about my work, it has to go to my contractor. Cool guy, by the way. You see, I hate this company with a passion, but it's the only place I can work for at the moment in the evening while I go to college in the day. They would try to save money by basically pointing out little things that the janitors did, like coffee stains in the carpet, long wavy markings on the walls, and a few other obscure things I can't remember, as an excuse to get us to deep clean the carpet for free or paint the walls for free. They never got away with it, but my contractor started getting complaints about throwing away cardboard boxes that the individual offices were still using or going to use. They basically made a hissy fit about me and the other contractors in the neighboring office building, both buildings are owned by the same company, were mistaking boxes placed on or next to the garbage can as garbage. So my contractor told them that we will now ignore any boxes that weren't directly in the garbage cans or weren't clearly labeled as trash or garbage. The company agreed and we did just that. Any boxes that weren't in the garbage can were placed aside and ignored. They also wouldn't label the boxes as trash, and so they started to pile up until one office wrote trash on one box and placed it on the rest. So as per agreement, I took the one box and threw it away. After a little while of doing this, all the boxes were cleared out one day and the offices now finally write trash or garbage on all the boxes they want to throw away. I definitely think it's dumb to leave stuff by the garbage and then act all shocked when the janitors throw away something that's next to or on the garbage. Yes, I know who was driving. No, I don't have to tell you. A year or so ago, I got a new truck. The old truck got loaned to a buddy of mine while he was between cars. Maybe 2 months later, I get a red light ticket for the old truck. I watched the video and my buddy was following too close to a bus and likely didn't see the light. Oh well, not a huge fine, no impact to my insurance, and one that my buddy will happily pay. My 3 options are pay online, respond by mail, or go to court. It really isn't worth my time to go to court, so I look online and there's an option for the registered owner to declare they weren't in control of the vehicle and a spot for a name, address, license number, anything they need to issue a new ticket. Interesting. I look at the mail-in form and see that the same option to say I wasn't driving, but it doesn't ask for someone else's name. Jackpot. I print the form, actually go out and purchase envelopes and stamps, and send it off to the courthouse. I got a dismissal notice a couple weeks later. Weigh all your options, look into all of them, and sometimes it might surprise you and be a huge benefit to you in the end. My dad wants a normal sleep schedule during quarantine, so I did. It's not a malicious compliance for my work, I'm still a trainee, but from home. So, due to the quarantine in Austria, we should only work when the company wants it, but I'm 1 month already at home. This happened yesterday. My dad wakes me up nearly 7 a.m. and already complains that I'm sleeping longer than I should in his eyes. My mood was happy and then angry and then tired AF because I got a girlfriend 1 month ago and we both read until like 1 a.m. But that's another story. So he said I should wake up as normal as I would to go to work. A little backstory. I always wake up at 4:30 a.m. to have enough time for breakfast and catch a train to get into the city where I have to work. And on holidays, he was ticked when my alarm still goes on a tantrum at 4:30 a.m. So I put my alarm back on and also thought I could expand the days where it should go on the alarm. So the alarm also goes off on Saturdays and Sundays with the best song I can imagine. The ending song of the helpful FoxtrotSierraTango. And I can tell he can get easily ticked off by anime openings and endings. During the quarantine, I order an Alexa Echo Dot because I always wanted one and now I connected it with my Spotify account and told her that she should make an alarm at 4:30 a.m. on full volume with this song. So today, the alarm goes crazy and I wake up and he storms out of his bedroom and screamed at me, and I just told him, "You said my sleep schedule should still be the same as I would to go to work." And he nearly slapped me. Personally, as long as you contribute to whatever you need to contribute to and you get whatever done, I don't see what it matters how long you sleep. Free Amazon show. I purchased an Amazon show back in July timeframe. Less than 6 months later, it just would not turn back on. For no fault of my own. It never moved from the same place in my living room. Amazon asked me to ship it back to them for a replacement, so I did. This is where the fun starts. So they mailed me back a refurbished item, which was annoying because I paid for a new one, but not a huge deal. However, it was returned without my charger, which are unique to Amazon's show, and it was shipped back to me with a chip missing out of the corner of it. At first, I could not get anyone to help me. They said because it was refurbished that my warranty is no longer valid. So they replaced my new one with a refurbished one that was broken, but now I lost my warranty? Also, that somewhere in fine print said don't ship charger back. I thought this was a bit silly because what if the charger was the issue? How would it help me to just ship the device back? After talking for hours on the phone, I finally got to someone who would understand my issue. The first couple of people were like, "Well, the system won't let me do it. Therefore, you are wrong and not entitled to anything." The people on the phone had no options for replacing the device with a chip in it, but they did have an option to refund my purchase of a new one. So I bought another one, he refunded it. I now have 2 Amazon shows, one with a small chip in it. I would have been content with just one. Yeah, it's a bunch of weird back and forth policies. There was a time where I received an item that was defective, but I didn't necessarily want to return it, so I just wanted a partial refund, and it was a weird chain where I kept going from bottom level, and they were like, we can only refund 15%. And you end up going all the way to the top that says we can refund 30%, that's the best we can do. So really, I think the moral is ask around enough and you'll probably get some kind of good deal out of it, as long as you politely make some kind of long-winded fuss about it. But with that said, that's all the stories we have for today. So what I want to know is which of these stories were your personal favorite and why? Let me know which one it was in the comments below. And thank you all so much for watching and listening to the Storytime channel. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and don't forget to turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. Thank you all again for watching and listening to the Storytime channel.